Hi team, welcome to this video cast on flipping the classroom. As per our discussion on the last day of term 2, we're going to start looking at flipping our classroom, and this presentation is going to basically cover what that is and how we're going to go about doing it. So what is flipping the classroom? The easiest way to describe what it is to explain what it isn't, and that's a traditional classroom with the teacher up front being a sage on the stage. When I say sage on the stage, think of a teacher up the front of the classroom who distributes all of the information to you, and it's almost in a one-way fashion. It's essentially what you'd see at university. Although this is uncommon in most PE lessons simply because of the practical nature of our subject, when I do become a sage on the stage, I generally see three types of students when I look out into the classroom. The first one is students who are engaged and on task, and they're basically focusing on the content being delivered. The second type of student is the student who is engaged, but they're struggling to keep up with the delivery of the content. So you might see them furiously taking notes and asking you to stop and pause when I'm up the front. And the third student I generally see are the students who are off task, unengaged, not taking notes, and really just not interested in that style of delivery. So you can see some of the problems here. However, in a flipped classroom, the teacher becomes a guide on the side whose role is to facilitate learning, help students discover knowledge, and basically steer them in a direction that will help them understand the content better. So what the flipped classroom does is it has students doing what they normally would in class at home and what they normally would do at home in class. The main content of each lesson is observed at home, where you can be free from distractions with the ability to watch and learn at your own pace. The real-world application of these concepts, which is the important stuff, now takes place in the classroom, where I have more time to assist the development of your understanding surrounding key topics and concepts that we are learning in a particular unit. So how will this happen? Basically 2 to 3 times a week I'll post an update on our Facebook group linking to a video. You'll then watch the YouTube video at your own pace, taking notes and other stuff when required. The key point here is being able to watch the video how you choose to. You're free to pause where you want, to take notes, summarise, or to discern the information at your own pace. This is important because we know that not all students learn at the same pace. Wisk is a one-page sheet completed at home to ensure you've watched and digested the content. A sheet is completed for every video and must be shown to me at the start of our next class. Failure to complete your wisk means you give up a lunchtime or interval to catch up. Wisk stands for Watch, Summarise and Question, and we're just going to break down each of those things quickly. So watch. Videos will range from 10 to 15 minutes, and it's assumed that to successfully watch a video you'll minimise as many distractions as possible. Strategies you could use here include putting headphones on, closing any other websites or tabs you may have open, in particular Facebook, turning your cell phone off, and putting aside enough time to watch a video. This means enough time to watch, pause when necessary, and complete your summary and question. Summarise. Your summary must be completed immediately after watching the video. This provides feedback to you, then to me, about your level of understanding that you've taken from the video. If we can't make sense of the summary that you've written, then you probably didn't understand it well enough because you couldn't verbalise it effectively. If you find you don't understand anything, the beauty of the flip videos are that you can pause, rewind, and watch the content over and over. And finally, we have question. To complete your wisk, you must develop a question from the video. And I know what most of you will say the first time you complete a wisk, I don't have a question. And this is simply not acceptable. Just a few ideas for questions that you could include. You could have a specific question about an example or a scenario or term that you didn't understand or confused by, or just a general question about the concept or something that was said or explained during the video. This is what a wisk sheet looks like in its two parts, the majority of it being for your summary, with space at the bottom to write your question. Note that up the top here, there's enough room in the summary section to include other notes as well. This could be for questions or tasks that I ask you to complete during the video. So let's look at what our school lessons may look like now. So over on the left here, we have our traditional classroom. And we might start with 5 minutes of introducing the session. We might do an advanced planner, just talk about what we're looking at for the session, learning outcomes and success criteria, followed by a recap on our previous lessons or previous learning. That might take, say, 10 minutes. And then we'd move on to lecturing or discussing new content, which may take 30 to 40 minutes. By then you can see we're running really short on time, and that usually gives us about 10 minutes to rush through a quick learning activity, which is simply not enough. And then we'd usually follow that up by giving you some homework, and that's a task that sometimes or quite often won't get completed or even checked for understanding. Then we move over to what a flipped classroom might look like, and we might introduce the lesson the same way we would as a traditional classroom, looking at our success criteria, learning outcomes, and advanced planner and stuff like that. Then we would have a bit of Q&A time on the video that you've watched the previous night. That may include looking at people's wisk sheets, discussing questions in groups, discussing questions that people raised as a whole class. And then we'd move on to guided learning activities or some practical work based on the concepts that were outlined in the video. And you can see there that we've got 45 minutes to complete or to use there for those things, which is a lot more time that you're going to have over here in the traditional classroom, which is why the flipped classroom is so positive. The pros of a flipped classroom include increased class time to present content, discuss complex topics, and to work with you. Reduced time spent answering basic and repetitive questions. And finally, increased student-teacher interaction and student-student interaction. Student-teacher interaction because now, instead of being up the front of the class providing content, I'm now among all of you, assisting you as you apply these concepts to real-world scenarios. And student-student interaction because instead of sitting listening and taking notes, more of your time is spent interacting with your peers, participating in group work activities, and completing tasks together. As with anything new, there needs to be some student expectations to ensure a smooth transition. As part of the flipped classroom, I'm expecting the following 3 things from you 100% of the time. That you'll watch the set videos prior to the designated lesson and complete any task provided during the video. That you'll bring your wisk sheet to the next class session, and that you'll apply yourself during our school lessons at all times and will ask lots of questions to further enhance and develop your understanding of the content. Well, there you have it. I'm quite keen to hear your thoughts and questions, so if you do have any, flick a comment below the link to this video on our Facebook group page. Enjoy the rest of your break. Otherwise, see you next term.